MARTA's FY ends on June 30th of each year. So we are now 7 months after their FY ended. And I sent an email to their CFO and asked, where is it? He said, we're waiting on an audit. I said, you know, we've got some other great companies here in Georgia. How about Delta Airlines? They operate all over the world. Their revenues are $32 billion versus $122 million. How long does the SEC give Delta Airlines to get their report? 60 days, and they complied. Home Depot's revenues, $68 billion. They get 60 days. They complied. MARTA, we're on month 7 now, and they have not complied. All right, you add that up, MARTA has diverted about $2.1 billion from other uses, and if you are a taxpayer in Fulton and DeKalb counties, you are subsidizing every one of those riders about $2,200 a year. They'll point out the fact that, well, hey, wait, highways get money from the federal government also, so I just put that slide together, and that shows you the relative amount of money supporting each one of those modes, and you can see the breakout between user and non-user. And yes, highways get Federal Highway Administration dollars, but where do they come from? Either gasoline taxes or fuel taxes or the general fund. In other words, your income tax and corporate income tax. Well, you're either paying through it at the gas pump or when you send in your 1040, but you're still a user of highway. And if you're that very small group over on the right-hand side that never gets on a highway, you still rely on the police, ambulances, fire, and the delivery of all food by highway. So what are the questions? Why are you spending half of our taxes on an unsustainable system? Why are you asking us to pay most of their ridership costs? And how are you going to pay for an expanded system in the future? How expensive is this stuff? Here are 3 projects up here. One of them is the Clifton Corridor, and I've got the project number up there. $700 million, and it's going to benefit 5,100 people. Take out your calculator, that's $137,000 per person in project costs. One of the mayor's pets is the Beltline streetcar. Those 2 projects cost $602 million, or other words, $106 grand per rider. That's government at work. Now, I just checked with Hank Aaron BMW, because he's just up the road from me. And a 2012 650i convertible goes for $90,000. So basically, they're asking you to buy everybody one of these things and still have $47,000 left over. What do you drive to work? And I'll bet you if I went out and said, Hank, I need 10,000 of them, I bet he'd give me a price break. But after listening to Tom and the Agenda 21 crowd, I'm on board. Instead of having all those individual cars that would cause more congestion, we're going to carpool. We're going to get 4 people, and now I've got $549,000 to play with, so I can go out and buy a Rolls-Royce Silver Phantom. That's 320 grand. So I am still saving taxpayers on the Clifton Corridor $229,000. Does this stuff seem to make any sense to you? How many Rolls Royces do I need? Huh? Whoop. I need 1,275 on the left, another 1,400 So I multiply the savings by all those carpools. All of a sudden, there's Plan B. Save almost $500 million on 2 projects. Now, if we bought, like, passenger vans that didn't cost $300,000 a piece, we'd probably save even more. All right, back to Jeopardy. Why are you squandering my family budget? Are you a rhino or a liberal? Because you're spending money like a liberal. That's not all. There's more. The CEO of MARTA tells us that unless we get $600 million that all of you vote to donate to MARTA, they're going to have an unfunded liability of $2.9 billion. It's 2.3 right now. Now you talk about unsustainable. Why would you double down on something like this? And for you counties that are outside of the metro Atlanta region, you begin to think, where's the state going to start looking for this money next? And here's a little quote from Beverly Scott, the CEO of MARTA. We do not have an answer of how it's going to be funded. Let me ask one of the 300 of you in here, where do you think she thinks the money is coming from? Why are you committing us to this backlog? Why are you making a too-big-to-fail system even bigger? And how are you going to make me pay for it? When you ask them those questions, they start to get quiet. And you got to ask them. You got to squeeze them. Is it going to get better in the future? I looked at the census data. Went to each one of the 10 counties up here, added what they had in 2000 and 2010. The population went up a nice even 20%. You'd think that would help their business tremendously. But if you go to page 71 of their 2010 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, because they haven't put out the 2011, you find that bus and train ridership went down. The question, if those New Georgians didn't increase ridership, tell me why the next 20% over the next 10 years will. All right, one other aspect is more government. If you're going to have all this transit running around, you need more government. And this is a review by the Georgia State University College of Law of the current GRETA legislation. That's the Georgia Regional Transit Authority. And you can't read that down there, but take a look at that. Well, late last year, the governor convened a task force, a transit governance task force, to look at all of these different transit agencies. We got GRETA, we got MARTA, we got Cobb Transportation, we got Gwinnett Transportation running a bus service, and said, get your arms around all of those acronyms and organizations, and let's see if there's a better way to manage all this. And maybe we can get some deals on buses and computers and things like that instead of buying them all separately. They held their first meeting, and I looked at the agenda. It was a stakeholder meeting. The first to come before them was Beverly Scott from MARTA. She got 45 minutes. The next was the chief of GRETA, and then the Georgia Transit Authority, and then the heads of Gwinnett and Cobb County bus service. Then the meeting was over. And I said, wait a minute, where's the public comment? I'm the biggest damn stakeholder in there because I'm paying the freight on this thing. So I wrote an email to the 2 co-chairs. I wait 72 hours, I don't get anything back. The next email goes to the same 2 co-chairs, my senator, my representative, the Speaker of the House, the head of the Senate, the governor's office. One of them got back to me. She said, Bob, you're right, it was an error. We'll correct that in meeting number 2. Didn't happen. There was no public comment. So now I get back on the horn. I say, I respectfully request 30 minutes of time to testify on behalf of the citizens of Georgia. it.